Hey, it's Robert Jiggler and this is Chilojo Cliffs campsite in Gonarezhou National Park. Chilojo Cliffs is about 45 kilometers or so, give or take, from Chipinda Pools, but that is a surprisingly long drive. You would think it would take an hour, but it'd probably take you 2 hours or more to get here. Now that's just about 45 kilometers from the reception here at Chipinda Pools to Chilojo Cliffs. It is quite an undulating drive. It's all gravel road. All the roads in the park are gravel road. And so it's quite slow. It's up and down and there's some tight curves. And of course you'll stop now and again to see animals and so on. So I would say it's at least a 2-hour drive, or you should plan for at least a 2-hour drive. And you definitely want to be here before sunset, because the sun reflecting off the cliffs at sunset is a spectacular view. Now the road here is all gravel. You don't need a 4x4 to get from reception at Chipinda Pools to Chilojo Cliffs. However, you do need clearance. Also, once you are here, if you're going to explore up and down along the floodplains of the Runde River, then there are some crossings where you need a 4x4, and these are tributaries into the Runde River rather than the Runde River itself. But they're quite steep, they're rocky, so you need clearance, and you ideally need a 4x4 as well. If you're going to come here in the wet season, I think definitely come here with a 4-wheel drive. If you're coming with a trailer or a caravan, I think it must be an off-road trailer or caravan. Amenities and facilities: there is a long drop, otherwise known as a Blair toilet. There is a fire pit as well, very nice for the evening, sitting there with your fire pit looking at the cliffs. There's a decent amount of shade on the site, and that's it. That is the total sum of amenities. This is very much a wilderness type camp. There are 2 campsites at Chilojo Cliffs. Both are sandy. There is no grass or ground cover of significance here. The campsites are about 100 meters apart, give or take. Probably a bit less than 100 meters actually. So you can just slightly hear your neighbors off in the distance, but it's definitely not intrusive, and you certainly can't see them because there's a lot of vegetation in between the campsites. Site 1 is a better view of the cliffs. There's less vegetation interrupting your view. Site 2, however, is a larger site and also has more shade. There's no electricity, there's no water, there's no braai. You've got to bring all your own stuff and be prepared to camp here under these conditions. This means that you've got to have enough water, enough food, enough wood or charcoal if you need that for your braaiing and cooking, and you also have to have enough fuel in your car. There's no reception here, there's no shop, you can't purchase anything. The nearest place that you can go to get stuff is Chinguli campsite, which is about a 10-kilometer drive from here, and you can get wood there. Note, to get to Chinguli, you've got to do a river crossing over the Runde River, and that is a wet crossing. It's relatively deep, about almost halfway up the tires for our vehicle at the deepest point. I imagine that as the river drops, it'll get easier and maybe eventually dry. However, at the time that we are here, there is a significant amount of water, and the river is certainly not at its highest. You've got to pay for your wood from Chinguli at reception. So you can collect it there, but you've got to pay for it when you come into the park. Management of the campsite: there is nobody that's going to come here and look after the campsite while you're here. We haven't seen anybody, but when you arrived, the campsite was clean, and the only thing that you can leave here is your ash in the fire pit, which will be collected once you leave, but you've got to take your garbage with you. So it is a wilderness campsite, and you've got to respect that. When you leave or when you go out driving, please don't leave any garbage around, because there are monkeys and baboons and other animals as well that will make a big mess of it. So keep your garbage with you. So for example, we drove away and realized that we'd forgotten something just a couple 100 meters and came back, and by the time we got back, the baboons had already opened our braai up and rummaged through our charcoal. What to do? No fishing. Unfortunately. However, this is a really beautiful site, and there's a lot of wildlife along the floodplains of the Runde River. So it's a great place from which to see wildlife as you drive around, but also there is quite a bit of wildlife that comes to the river itself. So you can sit here a lot of the time and watch the elephants come down, and water buck and impala, and quite a few different species of bird as well. So this is really a wilderness camp, and I think the idea here is to just enjoy the wildlife and the wilderness. So for example, now there is a herd of elephant that's about 250 meters away in a straight line from where I'm standing right now. If you're keen on birding, then birding is definitely something you want to do at this site. There are a lot of birds in the bush, but there are also a number of water species or waterfowl as well, because we are right on the river's edge. And insofar as activities is concerned, the biggest attraction is to just sit in your campsite and enjoy the cliffs, especially at sunset. I can't talk enough about the cliffs. It has been amazing, and I think coming here just to see this and experience these cliffs, especially at sunset and after sunset with these beautiful red and orange vibrant colors, I think that is the primary reason to come here, and I definitely recommend it. Note that you're not permitted to walk more than 150 meters away from your campsite, and that's for your own safety. This is a Big 5 park. We heard the lions last night. Obviously, we've seen the elephants quite a bit, and the elephants are quite aggressive. They have come to our campsite actually, and we've had no issues with them, but we've certainly seen a lot of aggressive elephants when we're driving around. There are also hippos in the river. We can hear those in the night and we can see them in the daytime, and there are crocodiles too. While you are in camp, the baboons and monkeys don't come into the campsite. They do seem quite skittish, and they seem to have a natural fear of humans. So that's a good thing, and I would like us to maintain that, of course. So if you do come to this campsite, please do not feed the animals. What type of camp is this for? You've got to be completely self-sufficient. Water, food, lighting, whatever it is that you need to bring to the site. The only thing that you'll get here is a fire pit and a long drop. I think you've got to be someone that enjoys being out in the wilderness in a truly wilderness type camp. So quick recap, what's here? So there's a long drop toilet, and there's a fire pit, there's a bit of shade, and there's a beautiful view of Chilojo Cliffs. What isn't here? No water, no lighting, no electricity, nothing to purchase unless you're going to drive 10 kilometers to collect wood from Chunguli. There is basically no set of amenities here with the exception of a long drop toilet and a fire pit. Bookings as per the rest of the Gonarezhou campsites is either via email or via call, and I have left contact details below. Chilojo Cliffs is an exclusive campsite. It's a much sought after campsite. It's a bit more expensive than the other campsites within Gonarezhou, and if you want to stay here, make sure to do your booking well in advance. So, would I recommend Chilojo Cliffs? Yes, I would recommend Chilojo Cliffs. The view is spectacular. It's really a wonderful campsite. It's really a great wilderness campsite. If you're the right type of person for this type of camping setup, I 100% recommend it. It's a pretty spectacular place. I hope you found that informative. Hit the like button if you did. Also subscribe. Remember, leave a comment below. It's always great to hear from you guys. If you have a question, also put a comment below. Buy me a coffee if you'd like. It's totally voluntary. And until the next episode, go everywhere, see everything, have a great time.